Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Armchair Keepers of Arcane Secrets. I'm Matt Ryan, and I'm joined, as always, by
High Priest, Cult of the Bloody Tongue, Bob Geis.
Bob, High Priest of the Bloody Tongue. Now, wasn't I in some game? I was King of the Zealots. In one of
You were
your
King of the
games, I
Zealots.
got to play the role King of the Zealots. All right, sports fans, here's where we are. Bob has just finished his second or third dip into the New York chapter. Third dip. Fourth dip, fourth session in New York,
I
fourth
think so.
dip, and I finished my first dip in the London chapter of England. But first, we're gonna bend an ear to Bob's tale of woe and misery.
It was something. All right. So fantastic episode. Fourth episode. Again, mine are snack size, right? We only played 2 hours. So, it is taking us more sessions, but the timing is about the same. All right. So remember they were getting off the trolley, right? They were getting off the trolley, and the one of the characters was in jeopardy. Again, we had an absence from the group. So the doctor wasn't there physically to play the doctor. So it was okay because the other four guys got off the trolley. They intercepted the cultist, okay? And so it was really good because I was able to introduce Imdari, who is the cult leader for the Bloody Tongue, there in that episode, in that moment, right? So there was a little tussle. He used the spell Mind Blast on one of the PCs that causes them to go crazy, and the dude like just drew his pistol and started firing randomly
So
in the
it
streets
worked.
of
So the spell worked.
the spell worked. Yeah, yeah. So and he went, and again I rolled a random insanity. It was like feat of violence or something like that. And so he just basically started shooting. And so I had people roll for luck, and I had my people roll for the crowd for luck. And so everybody just dove for cover, and the player emptied his gun while the cultist ran away. So it was a good use of the spell. It got a little magic, a little action going, and more importantly, it got the cultist identified
Yes.
but off the hook. All right. So they were able to leave and escape without to come back later. Right. So then
Very good.
perfectly, they completed the mission, which was to go to the medical board. They got the folder, right?
They
And
got the
so
folder.
they got the folder. And
Mm-hmm.
man, that thing is something else. I opened that dude up and it is chock full of info. And I didn't realize, again, I opened it for the first time with my players, and that thing is just information dense. And so it's like, let's not read that at the table because I don't want us to do nothing else besides read that. So the doctor is analyzing it now. So the doctor went to analyze it. They left them in a hotel room because that's proven to be completely safe.
There's no way anything bad is going to happen at a hotel room.
Absolutely. There's no danger. There's no danger there.
That's
So
right.
then, the remaining four players, right? They decided to go investigate the Juju house, right?
Have they been there?
They've been there. They've been there, and of course, they tipped their hand to the nefarious actions of the Juju House stuff, and so they went there. And so I'd already in my brain said that Imdari made tracks there to talk with Silas, and so they had already had a meeting. Then he was staking the scene out. Imdari was right, and then the players walked in. So I did a little bit of spot hidden stealth action there, and he did not see them go in, or he did not see them lurking around. They waited till Silas went to lunch and broke in. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And so, and then it's again, I love this Silas guy. He's a very regimented fellow for a mad, insane cultist. He goes to lunch for an hour every day. So I set a timer, a la Shadow Dark, for it was at that point 45 minutes because they had fooled around for a little bit. So 45 minutes. I said, okay, in 45 minutes he gets back, and we're going to do this. And I didn't tell them that we were doing it in real time, but we were doing it in real time as they're fiddling around in the Juju house. So again, they did all the things. They found they found the trap door. They found some machetes, the pangas. So they were, and my party did a terrible job of preparing for what could have been what it was almost certainly going to be a confrontation. The dude who fired his gun, those were all his bullets. He had an empty gun, right? Didn't bother to reload his gun, right, or even seek out bullets. So he had an empty gun, and they had four guys, two pangas, right? and then they went down to the little chamber, right, and
The
triggered
basement, the
the
basement,
the
which
basement.
should be bigger. That chamber should be bigger. It's supposed to pack like 60 people in there. Anyways,
It's kind of like a rave, right?
I
So
guess it's
they were
nice and
very,
sweaty.
very, very enthused about the stone circle. They really wanted to figure out what was going on there. But again, I have some seasoned players, right? And they made a beeline for the alcove, and they opened up the alcove. I gave them a description of some of the stuff, but then the zombies broke out, right? And the zombies attacked. And so I also discovered then that my players are very slow, right? Because I did combat like combat is in the order of decks, because nobody has a gun that was loaded at least. And so all of my players, except for one, were slower than the zombies, which was astounding. It's like, wow, I didn't expect that.
That dude's slower. I'm going to say that next time I meet somebody. I'm going to say, I think that dude's slower than a zombie.
Exactly. So, I mean, the combat went surprisingly well for my inept players against these very, very dangerous zombies.
Who are
Um,
only vulnerable with a headshot.
yeah, okay, about that, right? About that. So now, if you read the rules, if the shots to the zombies do more than half, like do a major wound, right? It chops off one of their arms,
They
right?
lose a limb. Right. They lose a
They
limb.
lose a limb. Okay, so then, all right, so these zombies are clubbing these people around. They're not bitey zombies, they're clubby zombies, okay? Now, I ran into the situation where,
Speaking
uh,
of a rave,
exactly. So, where one zombie got both his arms chopped off. And so I was struck with a moment. It's like, oh my gosh, this is going to go from horrific to ridiculous, right? And so I had that kill the zombie, right? Because I couldn't have a armless zombie just like body checking my players, because that would be
why
ridiculous.
not? Oh, they would have loved it. They would have loved it.
See, I was too much in the moment. That loses again. The horror becomes ridiculous, right? I couldn't have it. So,
Yes.
and
No.
besides,
Yes.
4 players, and at this point, I think that and these zombies, when they hit, they do hit hard. They don't hit often, but when they hit hard. So
Yes.
they had clobbered one of my guys, and he was down to 1 hit point, but he was still conscious because I'm doing rules as written.
Did he tick
And
the
so,
major wound box? He's
yeah,
ticking
yeah.
the major wound box. Yeah.
And so then there was the first retreat. They ran away,
Yeah.
but they realized that the zombies don't come upstairs, right? So they gave time, and I assumed that I gave them the zombies reset, right? Like any good monster, they just go back and they reset. They go back to their alcove as per their programming, and so they got rid of one zombie, and then they decided, let's go back down. And now remember, there's well, okay, you don't remember because I didn't say. Only 3 of the players are actually have gone down. One guy is standing watch uselessly. We'll get to that in a second. But they go back down and they fight some more. They take out another zombie, and then they set one on fire because of course they have, right?
Of course. Yes. My players are pyros as well. They love setting things on fire.
Yeah, so the zombies on fire, they have gone through, but now they've reduced the zombies to just really, 2 functioning zombies. One's on fire, and they've raided the stuff, right?
So
My players,
they have the
yeah,
mask.
they got the mask. They got the headband, which one guy's is wearing his arm. They got the headdress, which the players were actually wearing. That was one of the things. They stole the headdress and they ran upstairs, and then they put it on, thinking that it would allow the zombies, to not see them. But it didn't
Or
work.
that they could control the zombies. That
Yeah.
that would have been a good move.
It was a good try, but I like the idea better of them running down there with it on and still being attacked, because that's
Yes.
exactly what happened. So they got all the stuff, and this is interesting. The most, they grabbed some stuff and then they ran away again. The most interesting thing was, for the first time ever in, again, I've run this game. This is my 4th time, right? They've actually, somebody paid attention to the marine chronometer, which is down there, right? And so it's like, I have no, up to this point, it had been ignored in all my previous runnings. I had no idea what a marine chronometer was. And so it's like,
Oh,
okay,
folks, I hope you're enjoying this at home as much as I'm enjoying this right now.
so they grabbed the marine chronometer and ran away with it. And it's like, well, I'm gonna have to do some research on that. And so, but they're interested in that. So that will be good, because one of my guys, Johnny, is playing a sailor, right? See, look at that. That's a sailor there. So
That's
he'll know what that thing
that's a
is.
pretty impressive little prop there that you've got.
Hey,
That must make your player feel good that he's got a little nameplate.
Yeah, I know. And if he lives, Johnny has 1 hit point, by the way. Johnny has 1 hit point. The other guy got clobbered. He has 2 hit points. So it's like 3 hit points and 2 zombies. So they run back upstairs. The alarm goes off. The alarm goes off. That means that Silas is back from lunch.
And he walks in.
He walks in with Imdari.
The
Silas
two of them.
Yes. Silas
Beautiful.
and Imdari walk back in, and that's where we ended it, on a cliffhanger.
Oh, I am smelling conclusion.
Yes.
It smells like a conclusion burger to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, so that was my New York chapter. It was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Well played. Well done. It sounds like a fantastic time.
It was an awesome time. It was my favorite session so far.
And it was just action packed. I love, the Marine chronometer, whatever the hell it is, the timer. It's good. And I think it's an overlooked thing because it is important, right? They do have the grand plan. There is the grand plan that's going on in all these different locations. And I think it actually helps tie the locations together.
I agree 100%. I'm really excited about them. So excited that I went and I said, I'm going to get a Marine chronometer for the group. It'll be awesome, but it'll be an awesome prop. Then I looked up Marine chronometers. I don't have like $500 to spend on a Marine chronometer.
Can't you make one? Can't you make one out of soup cans and cardboard?
Yes, you could. I'm not that crafty. I could do this. This is the height of my craft here.
Give us a profile though. That's pretty crafty headband. Look at that, folks. Now, not to give anything away, but it will give everything away. If you're joining us this week at Chaosium Con US, Bob may or may not be sporting the headband in the opening ceremonies.
It may happen.
My session was very different because it's the beginning. We did all of the bookkeeping that happens when you end a session.
Okay.
And including sanity rewards, which I found to be interesting. So we kind of went through the tick box right at the end of New York. And I would say, do you think that you folks did this? Do you think you did this? Do you think you achieved this? We did it very sort of rules like.
Okay.
And we came up with a fistful of dice to roll. And because there are not a lot of mythos threats to sanity, many of the players hadn't lost any sanity.
Wow. All
right. So it made me wonder, and I am not an expert on the rules as written. I'm not even an expert on the rules as imagined. And I wondered, can their sanity increase above their starting sanity?
I think, okay, so there is a maximum sanity, right?
Which is 100 minus mythos lore.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. We didn't know somebody who was an expert on these rules.
We can ask that Fricker guy, but I question his take on the rules.
He's coming in hot from Italy. He's at a con in Italy right now. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he's a mover and a shaker. You know what I mean?
He is. I can't wait to see him.
So I said, sure. And again, our zombies, we ended up with a player with a major wound, much like yours. So, and I did give him the second mythos tome.
Okay.
To kind of give them something to do. And I did I incorporated your suggestion where there's no tip off to Gavigan.
Okay.
No tip off. Here's the book. There's a spell in it. And there's a chance to get some mythos lore. Now, the guy that went crazy from Mdare's spell, I gave him Cthulhu mythos points.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So I've got 2 players now that have dipped their toes in the lore of the mythos.
All right.
So as we're going through this and figuring out, okay, we've got this guy's got to heal, we've got it, and then you've got to book a flight or not a flight. You've got to get on an ocean liner, and we're going to England. We've got all these details to do, and I would say things like, but you realize you guys have time. I mean, as far as you know, there's no countdown, and that's exactly what I said a few times. As far as you know, there's no countdown.
Nice.
Because there is a very loose countdown, and one of the things that I had to do sort of on the fly was come up with when the new moon is throughout the different months of the year.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Isn't that when the grand ceremonies happen?
And the grand ceremonies happen whenever it's convenient.
I like that. I like that thinking. All right. So, okay. We get all of our shit together. So we're at the 15-minute mark. We can swear like pirates. We get all of our shit together.
All right.
We land in London. I'm down one player. My wife's not there, but I've got six. So I've got six people sitting around my table, looking at me like baby birds as I feed out information from this
Right.
chapter. And they essentially meet and talk to everybody. Mickey from the scoop, directly from Mickey. You're like, we don't take a break for lunch or anything. From Mickey, we go to Inspector Barrington.
Wow.
From Inspecting Barrington, we go straight to the Blue Lagoon or the Blue Pyramid. And we talk to Abdul, the owner. Directly from there, we go to the spice shop and we talk to Zara Chef.
Yeah.
And directly from there, we go talk to Eddie Gavigan at the Bennu Foundation. And every interaction is all of the players showing up and saying, hello, it's nice to meet you. We're investigating the Carlisle expedition and we're staying at the Gray's Inn.
Oh my God.
They might as well have put it on a card. Now, in the narrative, a couple of days went by, but at the table, it was interview after interview after interview. And I'm bad at voices and accents.
No, you're not.
I am. The only one I can really do is an Irish accent. And there are no, although I guess Mickey could have been.
All of you who have played in the game with Matt Ryan, he's good at accents.
That's terribly not true. So anyways, and now remember, I played Gavigan as a stooge.
Yeah.
They loved it. They loved it. The first they showed up at Gavigan, who's the last one to meet. Oh, and we'll just talk about Gavigan. Last one to meet. They're asking if there's any documentation for the Carlisle expedition, and I say, "Oh, it's all been impounded." And they said, "Impounded? Where would it have been impounded?" And then I said, "I mean buried. It's been buried. I mean destroyed." I kept changing my answer, and I kept getting more and more flustered. And then at one point, one of the characters tried to like touch him, but their hand on his shoulder like calm him down, and he moved out of the way, and he knocked a bust of Nefertiti that's sitting on his desk.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And the head opened up. There's a little button like in the Batcave.
Yeah, for sure.
And he leaned against it, and right in front of them, I said a secret panel in the back of the room opens up, and then he makes a lot of noises and then closes it.
Oh wow.
They loved it. I mean, looks of shocks on people's faces.
Yeah.
And I realized, so that's how we closed the session. But immediately, they made plans to break in and sneak into the secret passage.
Yeah, of course.
Which is what the text is written for them to do. I mean, it's like the perfect runway for that to happen.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm preparing for England too, and so I was rereading the chapter, and so I don't, in my reread, I haven't gotten to that. I mean, what I really am hoping that they do in England is go to the factory. I really like the factory angle of it. I think it changes it changes the nature of the campaign in a certain way that I want to happen really bad.
Yeah.
Because it makes it introduces a modern element to the campaign where it's not all looking back at ancient secrets, right? It's modern stuff. And that's one of the things that I want to give them a taste of early on, because otherwise they only get it at Shanghai or if they go to Australia.
At the very end, right? All of a sudden, wait a minute, we're building a rocket? Wait a minute,
exactly.
A rocket? The rocket plans are great. Those are great plans. And I'm actually moving the other clues from the Mizir house to the factory. Then there's only a couple. I don't know. I might even put them in the secret basement I'm going to have to look at them again to see how important they really are.
That's the critical thing, right? How important are they?
Because how important are these clues?
But
I have very confident players. Like they haven't suffered any misfortune.
They're confident or competent?
Confident.
Okay, there we go.
They noticed they were being followed immediately. They have very high spot hidden scores.
Okay.
Right. They've played the game before.
Sure.
So they know they're being followed. Multiple times they tried to ambush their followers,
Yeah,
and the cultists didn't fall for it.
sure.
I thought mostly because I didn't want to have combat. I didn't
Yep.
want to have combat. I don't want to interrogate a cultist. I don't want to
Yeah.
do any of that.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
So I made the cultists the cultists that were tailing them savvy, and these aren't just like the slobbering New York cultist, right?
That's right. That's
these
right.
can be more sophisticated.
Yeah.
So here's my plan. Here's I am anticipating what my players are going to do in 2 weeks.
All right.
I am anticipating that they're going to go back at night and break in.
Of course.
And I am
sounds
anticipating that some of them are going to wait outside in the dark and in the fog.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I see where it's going.
And the ones that are outside waiting, the ones that think they're safe, I'm going to hit them with both barrels. I think I'm going to hit them with the thing in the fog. Here's my thought.
Okay.
Hit them with the thing in the fog. Have the cultists sort of emerge from the fog with their spiked clubs.
Oh my gosh.
And then have the thing in the fog get the cultists too.
Oh wow, it's indiscriminate. It doesn't care.
Indiscriminate. So
Nice.
just like slaughter in the streets.
It'll be great.
That'd be a good punk rock song. It probably is one. Slaughter in the streets.
It's a good punk rock scene, that's for sure.
And inside, that I don't remember what there is to find in the secret basement, really, other than art objects. There's chances to beef up your mythos score things.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's leads to other sites, right? You get like letters and things from like Ho Fung and
You mean Ho Feng?
Sure. And Omar in Egypt.
Omar in Egypt. Yeah. And I have now, but I did make them here. We're at the 20-minute mark, so we're going to land this quick boats. But I did make Zahar Shaktif, whatever her name is. I came up with an at table mannerism for her that was very good, very snake-like, very cold, and but answering their questions. When they asked questions, she answered their questions. And then, because some of them were interested in her spice shop, remember they're meeting her in her spice shop. She said, well, I would happily send you a welcome package of some of my spices. Where are you staying? And immediately they're rattling off their address.
Fantastic.
So there is a lot of opportunity for retaliation. And now it's just as a keeper, and you do this, how hard are they going to retaliate?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, I've had drive-by shootings. I've had drive-by shootings in London, right? So that's because again, last time I played it, they beat up a cultist and pinned a note to the cultist because they couldn't speak, Arabic, and he couldn't speak English. So that was the only way they had to communicate, was to pin a note to him and throw him back out in the streets.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, all right. So we're deep in. That's pretty much the episode, folks. It's a big week for you viewers out there because you're getting this early in the week. And then in just a couple of days, we've got our special guest, Sean Brainey, coming from the HPLHS Society. Well, that's the Historical Society. He's going to talk about some of the stuff that he and Andrew are doing. It's some really fantastic props that are coming up, and some really super
new
kits
and exciting things, viewers. New and exciting things.
And I hope that some of you that watch this show come up to us during the con. Bob and I are both going to be in lovely Ypsilanti, Michigan, which is a suburb of Ann Arbor. We're going to be there for 3 nights. We're having a live Armchair Keeper chat.
That's right. It's up to like 6 people have signed up, including you.
I had to pay.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's no charge. There's no charge for our seminar.
That reminds me, the very first thing that I ever wrote and got published, I didn't get a comp copy. I had to buy it. I had to buy my own.
Hey, it's contributing to the whole.
All good. It's all good. Do you want to do the begging, Bob?
Yes, please. Subscribers. We're now up to like 80 subscribers, including my daughter and her boyfriend. So please tell all of your friends and your friends' friends to like and subscribe. That hit that button, the bell, the alerts, everything. Send a note to your mother.
And tell her we said hi. We'll see you in a week, sports fans.